Okay, what is up, Bear Gang, and welcome to episode 2 of Chilling with Bear. I have my lovely friend Annemarie here,
Hello.
and on this episode, since we both here love food, except I just look the part, we have food, and we're going to be doing a mukbang podcast.
Should we show what we're eating before we start?
You can.
Okay. So because we love food and I kind of got excited about the idea of a mukbang, I'll just kind of pan to my little thing here. So I have a Krispy Kreme donut. Probably not the best one, but I have that as dessert. I have some Korean rice cakes or tteokbokki. Probably the most Canadian thing ever because I am from Canada. People that don't like this pizza, you can fight me, but Hawaiian pizza is good, okay? There's ham, there's bacon, there's pineapple, and it's cheese. So fight me in the comments if you like it or if you don't like it. I'm not gonna judge, but I love it, and I have some kimchi beside me. And Alberto knows this very well about me, and I'm wearing it on my sweater today. I have some boba.
Mhm. Yes, she is 90% boba, 50% water.
Combine a little bit of green tea in there, then yes.
Yeah.
Let's say 50% boba, maybe like 20%, no, 30% matcha green tea, and then the rest water, whatever's remaining.
And for our first topic, it is culture. So, what's your favorite thing about your culture?
So I guess my culture, so I'm from Toronto, Canada, but my entire family is Filipino. So a lot of influences came into that and some Canadian culture as well. So I would say just those two things in mind, being a Filipino immigrant child of an immigrant Filipino family, I got to experience two different sides, but very heavily influenced on Filipino, where kind of like what we're doing today, we love our food, and whether it's like one person coming over or 50 people coming over, food is always at the center. So that's a big part of the culture. Family as well, and just like getting together and being with one another. But there's always something like food, music, or anything that are combined with that as well. What about you, Alberto? I know you're a mix of a few different cultures in your life.
Yeah, I love culture, whether it's mine being Hispanic or the Korean culture. Um, One thing that I think I like about mine specifically is we're very family oriented.
For sure.
I know whichever Hispanic household I go to, once I meet the family, if I go over the next day, they treat me like I'm their son.
Yes. And I would also relate that as well to Filipino culture as well. I remember in high school and elementary school, anytime me or my sister would invite friends over, we'd have to let her mom know, and it could just be for like hanging out or for homework time. She would always make them food. Whether or not she knew them or was close, it was always a way of like showing respect and being welcoming to prepare or to give food to someone. And this is kind of a known fact where if a Filipino mom offers you food, you do not say no, because if you say no, that is a slap to the face and also being very disrespectful. If she says eat more, just go with it. Whether you're full or you're not hungry, always accept it because that's their way of showing that they care. If they don't offer you that, then
then just don't bother going back.
Yeah, don't go back to their house. Yeah. So definitely for sure, lots of food and yeah, this it's a way of respect and a kind gesture as well because like they know that if it was the other way around, they would be accepting of it as well.
Yeah. One other thing that I do like about the Hispanic culture is how superstitious we are.
Mm.
I
You know,
can't.
one thing I realized
Hmm.
Hispanic cultures and Filipinos, because it's kind of tied in together, our superstitions may or may not be similar. But I'll let you list out what you know first.
Well, I'm still learning since I was raised in a predominantly white family, so I'm still learning of mine. But from what I do know, hi, Dios mío, there is so much stuff. The one that I know the most of is to any of my Hispanic viewers. One, don't judge me on my pronunciation. Two, I'm sure you'll know this. Um, the weeping lady.
Hmm,
I
what's that about?
I was going to say it in Spanish, but I forgot it. Um, basically, it's this woman uh, who drowned her kids. I forget why, and
Oh my
then
god.
she she's seeing like around I think around bodies of water in like all white, just crying for her lost kids that she killed. But um, if she sees a kid, she'll think it's hers and just try to like continue the cycle.
Mhm.
I think they actually made a movie about it.
So is this lady still alive or?
Oh no, well, she's a spirit, so
Hmm. That's kind of similar to kind of a mythological creature, but also a superstition as well. For those that are Filipino, I think you might know when I say the words momo. And no, it's not that scary viral thing that went on last year, the Momo. I don't think it has any relation to that, but growing up as a kid, anytime when I misbehaved, one of my parents would say, "Hey, if you don't stop crying, or hey, you want the Momo to come, the Momo's gonna come." And for those that don't know, the Momo is pretty much this mythical creature. I could be getting this wrong, but a mythical woman who kind of has the appearance of the Grudge,
oh fuck that.
and she hides in the dark. So if you do something bad, they would scare you and say the Momo's gonna come get you if you don't stop crying or if you don't start behaving. So it's like this lady is gonna come out for you. I don't know the full thing behind it, but I knew I was very scared of it as a child. Still creeped out by it, but I'm like, I don't think it's as real as I would think. I think they just wanted to scare me, but it's a real thing.
So it's like the Filipino boogeyman.
Kind of, yes. There's other things also, but it's somewhat like a superstition where if you do bad, she's coming for you. And if it's in the middle of the night and you hear someone say, "Hey, the Momo's there," anywhere that is dark, just that alone will mess with your mind and think, there's someone coming for me. They're gonna come get me, so I better clean my act up or just stop whatever I'm in trouble for, especially as a child.
And the second one is, do you have a favorite cultural food? So it can be
Mm.
your culture or just whichever.
Hmm. Okay, if I were to name my top three favorite cultural foods, number one, Filipino, because I live and breathe that food. Second would be Korean food, surprisingly. I was never into it until maybe like 3 years ago now. And then number three, I would have to say Japanese food because it's so
Mm.
simple, but the flavors that you can put into something like not. I'm not talking about sushi. I'm talking about stuff like chicken teriyaki or ramen or tonkatsu. Oh my god, I can keep going on and on, but those are three different cultural foods, but some of the things that are part of it are very similar. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
I can't choose a food. I have to choose a culture of food. What about for you, Alberto?
I think my top three would be obviously Mexican being one, just because one, the sodium count. If you read a sodium count for just a soup or elote,
Mm,
that alone will
okay.
kill you. So Mexican, um, Korean, just because they know how to do it,
Mhm. I agree with that.
and I think I would actually have to go with Jewish food. I haven't tried much, but the one dish that I do love and I could eat for the rest of my life would be um, matzo ball soup.
Mm. See, I didn't know that like it would categorize as like a type of cultural food. Like I know like there's certain things like people that are Jewish they have or follow a kosher diet, but I didn't know outside from that part that there's specific foods that go along with that. So that's
Well,
something new for me to learn.
well, I don't know much because after a certain age, I just stopped
Mm,
um,
sure.
caring. Plus, at my house when I was a kid, we didn't make that much in the way of um, Jewish food. It was either white or Mexican.
Mm,
So that's what all I know. But my grandfather's brother, so my uncle, he he made it, and we would go over to his house for Passover,
mm.
and his wife would make the matzo ball soup, and I would just get excited because the way she made it was awesome.
Mm. That's something I would want to try one day. I don't know where or how it should be prepared, but I would be open to trying that.
It, I've my friend who tried it was surprised because there's like the matzo balls when
Mm,
you see them. I guess he had like a pre notion that it would be like hard, but we
mm.
bite into it, it's like really soft.
Do you know what it's made of?
Uh,
Curiosity. I don't know.
I
'Cause I thought
used
they would be hard too. A
no
little bit.
think like dough but cooked.
Mm. Okay, I can see that. Kind of like a dumpling. Almost.
Yes, yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay, I can picture that.
Um, okay, I pretty much answered the third one for me, but if you could learn more about one culture, which would it be and why?
Hmm. Let's see. Out of the three that I listed, Filipino food, I would say it's like a melting pot of a lot of different flavor influences. So, from what I know, Filipino food is influenced by Chinese, I think some Spanish, a little bit, Indian and American also. So you can't really say that like it's one specific thing because there's so many influences on it.
Hmm.
So I would want to learn a little more. It's just like I guess in Mexico there's different regions, so you can't say, oh, this one dish defines like all of Mexican food. No, not really, because
The
each region has their own thing, just like in the Philippines
uh,
or in Canada or in the US.
the amount of times I've had to explain that to a person.
Like for example, for Filipinos, we have egg rolls, which we call lumpia.
Ooh, yeah.
Everyone knows that that's a Filipino thing, but what I learned is that that is just a play off of Chinese egg roll. So people identify it as Filipino, but it's actually influenced by Chinese food, right? Kind of like if you think of what's another comparison? Um, let's take like any noodle dish. There's one kind of noodle dish in every single culture in some way. It's like, oh, so what kind of noodles do you like? It's like, from where? Like for, I guess for Italian people, it would be pasta. But it's like, what kind of pasta? These are all noodles. You go to like the Philippines, we have things like pancit. We have pancit palabok. So it has one name, but there's different things to it. And kind of like, I guess, with my limited knowledge of Spanish food, when you say something like, oh, what's something that you like with the ingredient corn in it? It's like, what do you mean? And pretty much everything has corn in it. Or like for Asian food, rice. Everything has some form of rice or starch.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a unique mix that you can't really define anything as one particular culture's food. It's a lot of different things. Like I live in Canada, more specifically Toronto. Every neighborhood you go to is a different cultural neighborhood, kind of. Like we have a little Italy, we have Filipino town, we have little India, little Portugal, we have two Korea towns, surprisingly.
What?
Yes, there's a Koreatown North and a Koreatown South.
Jesus Christ.
Alberta, if you ever come, I will show you the better Koreatown.
I, look, the reason why I'm so shocked, I mean, I don't live in Atlanta, but I'll be lucky to even find one Korean store in my town.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of different things. So in Toronto, you can find any place in the world pretty much here, and a lot of places are hidden all over. But I'm guessing for you in Ohio, it's a little harder to find different cultural foods, right? For the most part,
Uh,
like just within your
I mean,
neighborhood or your area.
in Georgia, it's mostly in Canton where it's hard to find stuff because we're not like the big city. So in Atlanta, from what I know, I've only been there like 3 or 4 times,
Hmm.
but there's more like Korean stores, um, Japanese stores. Like I think H2, our friend H2 said that he found an H Mart there,
Wow.
which I'm jealous as all hell. But yeah, so like in Canton, all the stuff I found was just um, American, Mexican, Chinese, one Thai place, which I still have yet to try, and that's mostly it.
Hmm. Yeah, I know like in some areas it's a lot harder. Like I had a girlfriend who lives maybe 2 hours north, but then when I worked with her, anytime that like we both didn't bring a lunch or like we planned to go out for lunch, we would always go out for dim sum, which was like a block away from us. And she said, I never knew what dim sum was. until I started working here a few years ago. I'm like, really?
Wow.
Like, is there nowhere in your town? And she's like, because where she lives is kind of like a rural area. The
Mm,
closest thing that they have is a sushi place. And she said it's
mm,
not even that good. So anytime when I come to work, I'd rather like try everywhere that's around here because I don't get to have that when I'm at home, which kind of opened my eyes that like for some people it's hard to even identify with where they're living unless you can find something that brings a little piece of home to you. If that makes sense.
yeah.
Like it brings comfort, hence the term comfort food.
Yeah. The one thing that took me a while to find in terms of comfort food, since in my hometown of Ohio, there was always um, taco trucks.
Mm.
So I would go every so often to get some street tacos, and that was always my jam.
What's your go-to filling for a street taco? If you could picture having tacos right now in front of you, what do you want inside of it?
Um, Pork, carne asada,
Ooh, nice.
lime, because you always have to have the lime. Some tahine, and a sangria on the side.
Mm. Mm. Cilantro or no cilantro on top?
Always.
Okay. I
I
know some people don't like the flavor of it, but I don't mind it.
what? Let's be honest. With all of that other stuff crammed on top, how are you going to taste it?
Yeah, you need a little freshness on top. But with the pork, whew, that reminds me of the last time I had a really good street taco. Now that makes me want to have tacos, but I don't know where to get it from the
the
part of the city that I live in.
the closest I have, which it's close, it's not tax bracket wise. Like it's a Mexican restaurant, which I know is authentic because it's ran by a Mexican deal.
Hmm.
If it was anyone who who has any other name besides either Jorge or Jesus, I would not trust it.
Well, let's go into that since we're talking about culture. What do you think about when people say authentic food or like authenticity? Like,
I
what's your view on that is?
uh well, for me, since I grew up around Mexicans and authentic Mexican food, I know what's supposed to be in it, and I know what it's supposed to taste like.
Hmm.
So if I get like a authentic Mexican, let's say taco, since there's so many different kinds now.
Hmm.
If I go out for tacos with a friend and I get a Americanized where it's like cheese, lettuce, all this stuff, and he says it's authentic, I'll eat it because hey, food.
Hmm.
But afterwards, I'll say, look, your take on authentic Mexican food and my take completely separate.
So stuff like Taco Bell and Chipotle doesn't suit your fancy then.
Well, if
Like
Taco
in terms of
Bell,
authentic, I
yeah,
guess.
like I guess Chipotle is a bit closer because I can pick and choose what I want on it,
Hmm.
so I can kind of make mine like a bit more authentic. But in terms of like Taco Bell,
That's American version of an attempt on Mexican food.
yeah, like I I heard my friend's mom um say like she used to work there and they loved her because she mostly spoke Spanish
Hmm.
and whenever they would get the token Mexican family, I say token because, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they were sober because, yeah, um, she would help them translate. And the one thing she would always say to a customer who is not Mexican is, if you want authentic food, leave.
Wow.
And she would say it in Spanish so she couldn't get fired.
That's fair. I would agree with that also. Yeah. I guess yeah, even for me, like I think about some people that are like chefs or in the industry. So I guess I didn't say this before, but I currently work in the food industry. I work as a pastry cook at a barbecue restaurant, believe it or not, making pies all day, which I will also announce as well. If you're not already supporting your local businesses, support local restaurants. Not
Do it.
stuff like Chipotle or Taco Bell. Go to like some mom and pop shop that's making stuff like their own tacos from scratch and everything. Support because they need it desperately. Forget the fast food stuff, although it's good and it's affordable. You're helping corporations. You're not helping direct people. If that makes sense. So yeah. Um, but yeah, going back onto that, seeing people like Gordon Ramsay, for example. I believe it was last year he announced that he was going to be opening a Chinese restaurant. And Gordon Ramsay is known as a British chef. No offense to him, I love him and his work, and like people know him as the Hell's Kitchen
God.
chef. But if you think of him and you think of Chinese cuisine, and he's calling it authentic Chinese food, I'm sorry, Gordon. You're not known for Asian food. Last time I checked. But he said, "Oh no, 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 it's not me. I'm helping a friend, and my friend is the one that's making the food." So when people actually saw the chef behind who's helping him open that and creating the menu, it's a Chinese person. So it's like, oh, so because it's a Chinese person making it, that makes your restaurant an authentic Chinese restaurant. No, no. There's so many things that can go on that, but it's like if you're gonna label something, I wouldn't say authentic. Maybe say stuff like it's homemade, or just say that it's made from scratch. That's more believable than putting a stamp that like, oh, because I know this and this is authentic. No shame at all to Gordon. I don't know if he does know Asian food, but from what I know, he doesn't. Other chefs that are learning different cuisines that isn't already of their own, I can respect because they know and have learned that craft. But for someone like, let's take another prominent chef in the industry, Bobby Flay. Let's say he decided to open something completely different from like his barbecue joints or burger places. And he said, okay, today on my show, I'm going to be cooking some tamales. How much would you trust him when he says like, oh, this is an authentic recipe that I got from my friend? How likely is it that you will believe that him making it versus like your abuela making tamales? Again, no shame to Bobby Flay or to whoever your abuela is, but it's like, don't use the word authentic unless it's actually the person whose culture that is from. They have the right to say that it's authentic because it's from their own family recipes or whatever, but no. Like just that word alone, it's like it's so overused, but it's like people don't know what it means.
Yeah, and then that whole tamales thing brought back a story. My friend, who was white, no hate to white people, but they he brought
We
a
love you, but it's sensitive times right now.
yeah he brought a tamale in, and got confused when I said, "Oh, what kind?" Because he
What?
like there are different kinds of tamales,
That is true.
and
Yeah.
he was like, "What? It's a tamale," and I was like, no, I was like, no shit. What kind? So I had to pull a autopsy on a tamale and say I saved his ass because his friend pulled a prank on him and put ghost peppers in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did him a big favor because, yeah, if you were that curious, one, he would have probably had to go to the nurse's office or had to go home. Second, I think that also gave him an opportunity to realize also, now like, oh, just because I see this one thing doesn't mean I know everything about it. Kind of like with culture, where you can, again, identify one or two different things for a certain culture. There's a lot of different aspects that make up a culture. So let's say, for example, if I say Asian culture, there's how many different cultures or countries in Asia? Just like with Hispanic. When you say Hispanic, it's like, okay, which part? Or like if you say Latinos, it's like from where? Because it combines into like a big community or a lot of sub communities as well that make up the one big thing. So if you say, oh, this is like Hispanic food, okay, Hispanic food from where? Right? It's like you can't define one thing as belonging to a certain culture when there's so many things that add on to it. Like take the US. Everywhere that you go, there's little communities or hubs of different people all over the place. Same like in Canada, where there's more like let's say Filipinos in one part, or there's more like indigenous people in another part, or wherever. One culture doesn't define everything, but there's different things that make up one culture. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that is a good segue to our second topic.
I realize a lot of the stuff I'm eating is kind of spicy. Woo!
Okay, and while Anne suffers from spicy food, we're going to move on to topic two, which is
I'm cool. I'm fine. I can take the heat.
we had just now got to uh okay. I just remembered I put the same question on here twice. Oh well. We spent the first segment talking about food when this segment is about food. Fuck it.
Who cares? It's a part of it.
So, what is your favorite food?
Right now, right now I'm always craving Korean food, believe it or not. Hence why I have some tteokbokki in front of me. Um, I would say that, but I would say it depends on my mood or it depends on the season as well. Right now, I love things that are really warm, kind of like soups or anything more hearty. But then if I think of summertime, I want barbecue because it's nice outside. I get to grill stuff and the flavor's better. But right now, anything Korean food or Filipino food as well. Like one Filipino food I can always eat, especially when it's cold, sinigang, which is like a sour tamarind broth, and you can put like seafood, you can put meat, there's vegetables, and serve that over hot steamy rice. So good. It's so good.
Sounds good.
The sourness kind of throws some people off, but it's like when you eat it with everything else that's kind of fatty, like you put beef in there or like salmon or anything, it really balances out. What about for you? What's your favorite food at the moment?
Um, I've been really into Mexican food. As real as I can get it. Discord, shut up. But since it's winter and it's cold, I've been loving a good chili.
Mm. Oh yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the only one, but oyster crackers and chili.
Mm. I've never heard of that combo before. I should try that the next time.
I mean, we used to use like saltines.
Yeah, that's what I would usually go for, like saltine crackers.
Yeah, but with the oyster ones, they're small and he just put some chili in, pop a few of those in, some cheese, done.
Mm. Now, are you the type of person that puts cheese in your chili or just like on its own?
Uh,
I know some people do put cheese or sour cream, but I don't personally do that.
it depends on um uh how I feel because being lactose intolerant and always putting cheese in, not the best
Uh,
idea.
I can sympathize with that because I didn't think I was lactose intolerant until now in my early 20s. I realized I love things that are dairy, but they don't love me back.
Yeah.
Okay, since we are talking about food, I think we talked about savory, but something sweet. What's your favorite sweet food that you like right now? I know our decision.
Yeah. We have this thing that we make here called Watergate salad. It's
What is
basically
that?
it's um pistachio pudding,
Mm-hmm.
marshmallows, whipped cream, pineapple,
Whoa,
mix
that was a curveball.
mix all that shit in, and it's amazing.
I was along with you for the journey up until I heard pineapple. I'm like, wait, hold on. Pistachios and pineapple. I'm not gonna hate it until I try it. That's how I am with any food. It's like it looks weird. It probably smells weird. But does it taste weird? Most of the
I
time, no.
mo-
But it's
most
like I
most
gotta
of
try it.
the people that have tried it have loved it.
Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. Anytime if I see something like a pistachio pudding, I'll be like, let me try this thing that Alberto really enjoys.
I'll I'll send you the recipe.
Okay, thank you. Because again, I would rather try it and say I hate it rather than look at it and be like, ew, that looks weird. When it could be the best tasting food that I haven't tried yet.
I've stuck by that up until I saw uh, was that Filipino food? That's the egg and the bird.
You mean balot?
Yes,
Okay, I'm gonna explain it for your audience. Okay,
oh,
balot. I think most people that use the internet have seen that as a weird, disgusting viral food trend. This is a very inexpensive street food where it's how do I say this where it doesn't sound disgusting also? Think of an egg, okay? This is a duck egg, tastes like an egg. It's just when you open it up, there's a fetal bird inside, meaning that you see the little beak and the head, but it's not living anymore. I have personally tried it. It straight up just tastes like an egg. Funny story behind this. So because of that, my coworkers and I, where I used to work at, they were asking me about it. I'm like, no, it's actually not that bad. It's a little pricey here, but it just tastes like a regular egg. So I came into work one day, and when we didn't have too much to do and like we were on our lunch break, I had already cooked it and they're like, okay, let's try it. When I say it was surprising, my girlfriend who hasn't really tried too many culturally like adventurous foods, I told her that there may or may not be the actual fetal duck inside there. So when I cracked her open, she's like, why is there juice in there? Which for my Filipinos, that is the good stuff. That is the broth. Because the way you're supposed to eat it, you tap it a little bit, open it up, and you drink the broth. It's like a salty, kind of briny broth in a way. So you slurp that first. Take a little bit of salt, put it inside, and then you continue to slowly unpeel it. What my girlfriend wanted to do, she wanted to see full baby fetus, which is not how you're supposed to eat, but I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. So to this day, I still get like flashback videos of that or throwback videos of it where we took apart the egg and I've never heard someone scream like that. Where they're like, why is that in there? Why do you guys eat this? Which, again, for people that don't know that, it looks weird. But this is something that like poor people would eat. Like people that can't afford a lot of food. If you go to the Philippines, you go to a guy on the side of the road and he's selling those, $1 a piece, maybe even less than that. I go to my local Asian grocery store, $2 an egg. So it's like, it's a, again, kind of going back to a cultural thing, it's part of the culture where people know that and they see it and it reminds them of home. But for us here, it's like, what the fuck is that? Why is this a thing? But it's a unique delicacy, which, Alberto, whenever we meet one day, and I bring that for you, if you try that, I will respect you more than I already do. Because my girlfriend still ate it, and I respect her beyond belief for trying it.
Am I allowed a bottle of
Yes.
soju?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I'm going to chug that and then eat.
Again, it just tastes like an egg. It's just you have to get through those little things. It's like when you bite into it, there's no bones. That's one misconception. There's no bones that you chew.
Oh, thank God.
There's no little bones. It's just like, it's just a soft, squishy texture. I should not be saying that because that can be misconstrued, but that's the best way I can say it. Just, you just go in and eat it. Yeah.
And with that being said, if you could cook for one celebrity, who would you pick?
Oh, shoot. I'm trying to think. What celebrity is pretty adventurous with food? Ooh, actually, I would want to cook for. I don't know. The first person that's coming to mind is Chrissy Teigen. And the reason for that being, she cooks already. She has a few cookbooks where it's her own recipe. So to cook for her or to cook alongside of her would be a pretty big honor because she doesn't have any culinary background, yet she's making some pretty bomb-ass food. Like I was thinking someone like, let's see, my favorite celebrity is Haley Steinfeld. She is pretty adventurous with food. So anyone that doesn't mind trying something new, I would love to cook for them. If you're pretty picky, I'm sorry, I don't have the patience for you.
Yep.
And that's being completely fair. If you want to try something, I will cook anything under the sun. But if you are someone that looks at balut and says that's disgusting but doesn't even want to attempt to try it, I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with that. From a culinary standpoint. Yeah. What about for you? Any celebrity or public figure. Let's put that option too.
I think with that option, I would have to go with
No pressure at all on who you pick.
I think I would pick Matt from Game Theory.
Oh yeah. That's pretty good.
Either him or what did I? Oh God.
Why? What's happening?
Why did I? This is just me, but I was going to say Mr. Mango Butt.
I mean, why not?
But one, I would have to get over the 30 minutes of why are you so damn handsome, and then think of the one food that he has the most trouble eating, have him eat it and record it.
But then also, it's like, is he gonna reveal who he is under the panda head? Because he goes by Fiance, Mr. Mango Bob, Panda Head.
Oh,
I mean, you're gonna have to go through Stephanie Sue for that first.
hell, I'll cook for her.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if it was a YouTube celebrity, let's say, Stephanie Sue, she's my girl, so I wouldn't mind, because just watching her mukbang just before we started recording, she was eating her sister's pregnancy foods, and oh my god, that's a lot of food! Like, we're doing a small mukbang now, but hers are like another level.
Hers would fill my entire desk, and that is not a lot of space.
Yeah. She has a nice setup. We just have like right there in front of us. But, like it's pretty elaborate. So yeah, I mean, Mr. Mango Butt, he seems pretty down to eat stuff, considering what him and Stephanie do.
Call me, please.
Again, you have to know who's behind the panda mask. It could be anybody. We never know.
And what would your last meal be?
See, this one's just as hard as picking like what's my favorite food. I'm gonna think of that in terms of like what's something I don't mind eating for the rest of my life. Let's see. For sure, it would have to be something Filipino food because I could never get tired of eating that. But to pick one as my last meal, my mom's beef sinigang. Just like give me a 5-liter or so bowl and give me endless amounts of hot rice. I don't care if that makes me full and like I just like die happy because I got to eat that. But like just give me as much of that and I'll be good. I don't mind if I go tomorrow or not, knock on wood that doesn't happen. But yeah. I would eat that as my final meal.
I just realized that it being 2020 us talking about this, and there's still being like 2 or so weeks left.
Hmm.
Universe do not get any freaking ideas.
Like, is there a loophole somewhere to get out of this? Can we advance a few years for
Well,
COVID's
if
fine?
well, I kind of already ate mine, but my last meal would be um um I actually forgot the name of it. Goddamn.
It was
Um,
noodles, right?
yeah. It would be jjajangmyeon. Yeah, it would be
Mm.
that. Just like a big chili pot
Ooh,
of it.
oh yeah. Speaking of jjajangmyeon, I'm planning to make that tomorrow.
Noise. This is my. I just got like 2 big packages of it, and this is my second pack today.
Hey, I would do the same also. It's one of those things that like I didn't think too much of it. I'm like, it can't be that good. And anytime with my friends from college, we would go out to eat. We're always at a Korean restaurant, and the staple things we always have to get outside from what we usually get, shared items would be tteokbokki and jjajangmyeon, always. And maybe kimbap rolls here and there, but always those two.
Yeah, and for anyone that's not tried jjajangmyeon, that and kimchi, your insides will be happy.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the kimchi, because good natural probiotics will help with everything going on down there as far as digestion. And jjajangmyeon, for those that don't know, it's um wheat noodles, and then on top of it is like a black bean sauce that has like meat inside of it. There's sometimes squash, daikon inside there. It's all really, really good. I could eat that any day, which I will tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you get the packets like I do, it's not that hard to make.
Yeah, there's a lot of like ready to cook things, so it's just like put it in a pot, add some water if you need to, and it'll be done in like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it works out really good.
Well, I think that's the end of our topics. So it's
Uh-oh.
the end of the episode.
Oh, are we frozen?
You're good. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
are we back? I'm confused.
Yeah,
You see me moving side to side.
yeah, we're good. Okay, so yes, this is the end of the episode. Thank you, Anne,
I got through half my boba, so that's good timing too.
thank you, Anne, for coming on.
Of course, thank you for having me on, and I guess having dinner with me also.
Um,
um,
would you like to um, what's the word I'm trying to find? Um, plug your sweets business.
yes, so if you are watching this and you live in the Toronto area, I actually have a few things that I'm starting to sell because, COVID times, trying to get that extra cash. So I'm making like different sweets. So right now I'm about to launch my macarons. I've been making eclairs. I'm testing on making kimchi dumplings, empanadas, just to like one get some practice and also make an extra income and sharing what I love to cook with everyone. So if you live in the Toronto area, check out Annemarie Sweets and Eats. If you really love food, I post a lot on my foodie blog Instagram as well, which is Annemarie the Foodie. Notice how there's a trend with that name. That's a username that I created based off of a high school nickname. If
Very cute.
you are like me and you are an avid boba fan, which if you are, I love you already, despite not knowing you yet. But you can check out Boba Girl TO on Instagram, where I basically drink my way all over Toronto, trying different things of bubble tea. So like this drink that I have is my go-to at this one place called Coco. It's a grapefruit Yakult, and I have some lychee jelly at the bottom. I'm also trying to do a few YouTube videos, but I'm not as good at filming like how Alberto is, but I'm slowly learning that. But yeah,
Oh,
check me out on all those things on Instagram. I have more things coming up in the future, but we'll see what happens.
if you think my stuff is good, all I do is turn on the camera and pray.
I mean, you have some pretty creative ideas, so I have no doubt that whatever goes up online, it'll be something that I could only think of doing, but my thing is food. Just like our conversation today, just about food, and more food. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for inviting me, Alberto, and for whenever this goes up to everyone, happy holidays, happy New Year. We got through 2020. Um, who knows what will happen in 2021? Hopefully, COVID says see you later. Like bye, Felicia. Goodbye. Fingers crossed.
And if you're in the US, it's almost done. I know. It's almost done. He's almost out. Just wait.
Oh yeah, good luck to all of you guys. You only have a few more weeks and then you can say goodbye to that who shall not be named because yeah, but all of us in Canada, we're wishing you guys all the best of luck. I'm saying that on behalf of all Canadians. Good
Yes.
luck.
And if you're one who can crack what we're saying and don't like it, bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Well, this was fun. I'm full.
Yep,
And
so am I.
to all the viewers, thanks for joining the Bear Gang.